Hi, I'm Austin John of the YouTube channel Austin John Gaming, where I cover gaming stuff. And you might say, why are you so dressed up? Well, great news. I was given exclusive access to the PalWorld Sakurajima update, and I want to share some impressions and answer your questions about this update. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the new features, new areas, new pals, but in no way, shape, or form I'm going to be really spoiling anything special for you. First things first, there is a brand new island that you can explore and experience, and it's just integrated nicely into the base game. It's just a short trip north of the Forgotten Island, and while in size it's much smaller to something like the Arctic area or the mountain down here, it's significantly more robust in its distinct biomes. The giant frozen mountain at the top, there's nothing to do here. It's so boring. It's just walk around, get some eggs. Far too large of an experience. This area is much smaller. There's a lot more detail and sub-biomes packed into it, and I really like what they did with that. The Sakurajima update is a new island in PalWorld that is heavily inspired by traditional areas in Japan, such as Kyoto. Most notably, as seen in the trailers, is this beautiful cherry blossom tree area, which is right by where the new boss battle is, the new PAL tower that you're going to be fighting. In the middle of the island has just sort of a very generic grass area. To the east of the island is the mushroom wetland, which is very distinct and very different from anything that you've experienced before, with these little rundown shacks that are going to be hiding treasure chests for you to find. Oh, that one had pizza. Chests sort of had, like, I feel like a little bit of an overhaul. And especially in this area, the chests are so much more worth it. You're also going to be finding a container that functions similar to a chest, which is this debris pile, and you're going to be finding this all over the world, not just on the new island. And if you'll go ahead and inspect this, you're going to be getting coins, a new currency called dog coins. I'll talk about that later on. But you're also going to be finding level-appropriate items, food, pizza, crafting materials. I found circuit boards. Like, you're gonna be finding some actual helpful things. Oh, and here's one of the new pals that was teased in the trailer. Crocajiro. He is Frog, he is Friend. I also have my settings up right now, that way I could be a little bit more talky and a little less. I'm worried that I'm gonna die all the time. On the northern area of the island is going to be a whole large desert-like area where you are gonna be finding a bunch of new pals, including this little fun guy over here called Prickster. Yeah, he's a bipedal scorpion guy who is a dark ground. You're gonna be seeing Helzifer Luxes flying all over the place. A Terra variant of Gororat is gonna be found here. A brand new pal called Kickit, who's just this adorable little ground type. Nothing really too, dangerous or threatening about him, but he is a cutie pie. Oh, and check this out. Here is also a new pal based off of the traditional concept of a mimic. This guy right here, this is Mimog. If you have trouble catching Mimog because they are extremely fast and they run away, use a rocket launcher. Because for whatever reason, they don't run away after that. I also don't have any pal spheres to actually try to catch him. Can I catch him with these two over here? No. However, while you're on the screen, you can now see that you have a number listed on how many of this pal that you've captured, which is a pretty neat thing. Oh, see what I mean by he's fast? And sometimes he runs to the ocean and despawns. Like that. Here in the desert, you're going to be finding a large Anubis statue with another boss that you're going to be able to take down. A personal new favorite part of the island is the southern sandbar, which just feels like a nice little desert area. Let's talk about levels. From the second that you boot up the update, you're going to be seeing that the tech tree has a lot of additions. Also, if you have not played since launch, there's a bunch of additions in here, such as at level 15, you get access to an ore mining site. Your base no longer has to be on top of one of the scarce resources of iron throughout the world. You just build this in the same way that you can mine up stone and wood, you can mine up ore. The Ring of Mercy, which makes it so any player damage, such as assault rifles or bows and arrows or whatever, you're never going to be damaging a pal below 1. Think of this as your false swipe. However, you should know that that does not stay true for pal damage. Pals will damage wild pals below 1. There's a new item called the lock picking tool, which makes it so that if you don't have a key, you can just pick a lock. And if you're familiar with any lock picking minigame in any game prior, like Bethesda games, it's not much different. It can't be much different. It's lock picking. There's also a new item called the Homeward Thundercloud, which transports you to the nearest base, cannot be used in dungeons and other similar locations. And now with the update, we have from level 50 to 55, which includes items like the crude oil extractor, which allows you to make plasteel, which is required for plasteel armor, the brand new sphere called the Ultimate Sphere, the Hyper Glider, new weapons such as the Flamethrower, the Laser Rifle, the Grenade Launcher. There's a bunch of stuff to play around with. And you're also going to be seeing over here a sulfur mine and a coal mine in the same way that you have an iron ore. There's also a variety of other items down here, such as the PAL disassembly conveyor. Now you don't need to manually go around with a hatchet. You can just use this and it does exactly what you think it does. I want to say that the crude oil is so power hungry. I have 4 electric PALs working, and either I'm not doing this right, or it's not working right, or something is going on, but it is not efficient for you to go ahead and mine this up. I also need to unlock the new power generator, because this isn't cutting it. Also, another fantastic item is the cold food box, which, just as you'd imagine, it's a food box and it's a refrigerator in one. Let's go ahead and talk about base updates. Defensive walls that you have, their building rules have been very, very loosened. So now you're going to be able to build them a lot easier, either higher off of the ground or deeper into the ground. After one is already crafted, you're going to notice that it snaps to the middle, and using my mouse wheel, I get a lot of degrees of variance. So building these guys in a circle perimeter is easier than ever before. Or if for whatever reason you want to loose hand it, you're going to notice that you have a lot of overlap, which made putting down the gate for me very easy. And it blends pretty darn well into the gate. I'm definitely not mad at that. A feature I want to talk about that, to be honest, I don't know if it was in a previous update or this one, is chest settings, which make it so that only the specific items that you want to go inside of a chest will be put inside of a chest. If I want only PAL materials, production goods, and other materials to be inside of a chest, that's the only thing that is in here. And if I go to put something that isn't those things, it will not go in there. I'm dragging this megasphere, cannot go in there. GG easy. Super easy way for you to just come back to base, make sure that everything is exactly where you need it to be, and you're not going to accidentally put something in the wrong place. I'm also kind of in the idea of, well, can I just take out these items and throw them on the floor, and then my pals are going to figure out where they go and where they belong? Yep, you're going to see these Anubis running around and putting them in the right place. Right, guys? Yeah. Various things around your camp in order to make items such as electric furnaces. You're now going to see an option which is allow transport by pals. So once the one item is done being made, one of your pals with the transport ability is going to go around, find the closest chest that does accept that item, and then go ahead and put it in there. And the thing I didn't talk about that I should have talked about is that means that your refrigerator can now be only for ingredients, and that means that your food box and your refrigerated food box from the new update can be only for cooked foods. So now your pals are no longer going to be eating raw food and getting that debuff and that constant mood depression. Instead, only the cooked food that you then tell them to bring on over and put inside of that chest is going to go there. So don't tell them to bring cake out, but do tell them to bring your jellied toast out. Oh, people also wanted to know about the building system. There's a brand new building system based off of glass, which is essentially just rock and PAL fragments, which is, refined rock. So, yeah. Very cool visual effect on these guys. Maybe accent pieces here and there. I don't think I would build an entire base out of it. You're also going to notice around my camp, we have this guy, which is the PAL dressing facility, which basically is if you have a certain type of PAL and you have a skin for them, such as the Sunglasses Catava, you can then assign any and all of your Catavas to have sunglasses. Time of launch, it's only going to be the sunglasses, the deal with it, Catava. Later on, they say they're going to be adding more, so that's neat. Last notes as far as bases. 1, Palbox management. They have doubled the amount of pals that you can have inside of your base with now 32 boxes. They've increased the starting amount of bases that each player/guild can have from 3 to 4. There is a new sort system. Instead of it just being one button that sorts it by PalDex number, now you can organize it by PalDex number, level, element, find alpha, filter by element, filter by work suitability, and an option to prioritize your favorites. I have seen the filter by element and the filter by work suitability. Oh, on this new island, I found that there's actually a bunch of these skill fruit trees that are very easy for you to get a hold of. There's new unique skills that are only assigned to one pal, such as Menacing gets a unique skill called Jumping Stinger, Chillit gets something Rocket Slam, Lylene gets Protection of Fertility, which actually heals you in battle, which is neat. Phalaris gets Raging Flame Wave, Grizzlebolt gets Thunderbolt Heavy Tank, Orsurk gets Polyceronos. I could not spell that. I could not pronounce that better if I tried. And Shadowpeak gets Divine Disaster 2. In addition, there are 16 new moves that you're going to be finding skill fruit for. And you're also going to be having a bunch of new passive skills, including Philanthropist that greatly reduces time to produce eggs, Impatient, which reduces cooldown on active skills. That's dope. Infinite Stamina for mountable pals so that your Jet Dragon can fly forever. Noble, so that pals with passives will give you an advantage when trading with merchants. That's neat. And Nocturnal, so that pal works at night. Awesome stuff here. There's a variety of other new items that you're going to be finding along your way, such as new materials that are going to be dropping from enemy, new crafting items used to make carrying elixirs, and if you played the update that has the new raid boss with Bella Noir, you're also going to be experiencing new slabs, such as Blazemahut Ryu's slab, which is a new boss that you can take on in a group. I have not done that yet. I think it's going to be hard. Okay, new additions to the game. In the Desiccated Desert, we have a brand new area called the Arena, where you, while playing multiplayer, that is a requirement, can enter here and then face off against other people. So here is your PvP trainer battles. From the 5 pals you have, choose one main pal to be your partner and 2 sub pals to participate in the battle. You can win by defeating your opponent's pal tamer or all of your opponent's pals. Items used during battle and pals that have fallen will be restored to their original state after the battle. So anything that happens to you or the pals or your consumables while in the arena does not affect your single player / multiplayer progress, which is fantastic, which that encourages you to really just go all out while you're in there, and I think that's great. Unfortunately, I did not have the opportunity to link up with some of the other creators who were trying out the experimental update, so I didn't get to Arena. But you will when the game updates, yay! Speaking of new areas, there is another island. This is the oil rig, and oh boy, this is a stronghold and a half, and it has giant laser beams that shoot you out of the sky and on the water once you approach. There are so many enemies. Poaching Gang Oil Rig, for some reason all in lowercase. Honestly, when I came here, it felt very Metal Gear Solid-y. Oh, yeah, make sure you turn off your Ring of Mercy, otherwise you can't defeat anyone. Everything is level 55 on that island. Make sure you come prepared. A few other things, the Lift Monk effigies, there is now 2 additional levels that you can level up your player for you to get higher catch rates. Back at the Forgotten Island Church Ruins, this is the Metal Merchant, which once you acquire dog coin, you are going to be able to come over here and speak with him and exchange the dog coin for various things, such as different hats for Kadava and Lamball and Cognito. A mysterious accessory box, which increases your accessory slots by 1. Very nice thing. A multi-climate undershirt that raises your heat and cold resistance by 1 each, which is amazing. And then you're also going to be seeing down here a variety of different fruit that's actually going to be increasing a pal's trait values that they have when they are caught. You are going to be able to see a wild pal's IVs, and you are going to be able to increase their IVs with these various fruits. There's also a variety of elixirs for you to take, the player, which increases your stats. Before you ask, I do not know if these individual fruits permanently change a pal's traits that is then passed down at the current rate of my previous testing. That is something we would have to test for much further down the line. PalWorld also told me that because of all the new species that they added, the current breeding system in order for you to get different versions of pals is going to be different. So what you currently know of as you mate this with this to get this, that may be changed to some extent, to great extent, I do not know. Now, after you go ahead and defeat one of the syndicate bosses in the game, you are going to be getting the option to go ahead and experience the battle in hard mode. As you're going to see right there, join boss battle hard. That goes for all of the previous syndicate towers and the new syndicate tower as well. I have only two last things that I want to talk about for this update, and they're very rare events that I've played this update for, I'd say about 13 hours or so. I've only experienced it. There's a new event that happens randomly. It's a sky-based event, and it can either be a supply drop or a meteor. And if it's a meteor, there's a rare pal that's going to be able to spawn from that. And supposedly there's two different pals. It's not a common thing. It actually happened the very second that I started playing the game, and I panicked, and then I fat fingered, and then I knocked it out. Its name is Silene. I mean, I might as well show it to you because it's the new boss, so you are gonna be seeing it one way or the other. Even though I am playing on a profile that's, for lack of a better term, a little dumbed down so you don't see anything too spoilery, I've never experienced number 112, so there you go. And the last thing that, you know, it's not nearly as cool as two rare pals that only spawn a very small amount of time. But there is a new world event of a nest. Oh. I just heard a sound. That was the sound. Yes! Okay! That's a meteor. Nope, it's a supply drop. Supply drop, not a meteor. Oh, and baddies are here. I forgot about that. Go ahead, loot everything from here, and be out. Yeah, that was my third ever supply drop. Only had one meteor. Very lastly, there's a neat little world event that can sometimes happen. I've only seen it here in the desert, or maybe this is the only place I noticed it. Instead of there being one pal egg out in the wild, you're gonna see sort of a makeshift nest, and you're gonna be seeing several of the different pal egg inside of that nest. By the way, the pal eggs you find out in the wild have a chance of having the new pals in there, so now you once again have an incentive to go around and get the various eggs all throughout the world. I have two wish list items for this game. Two things that I want more than anything else. One of them is going to be my progress in my game can go to another game. I want my character save information and my world information to be separated. That way I can join someone else's world and we could do fun multiplayer stuff. Still can't go to the big tree. You could see it right there. You can see the coastline, but it's not ready yet. Can't go to the big tree. That way the multiplayer arena has much more purpose when you're playing in multiplayer mode, and you don't have to do a dedicated server for you to enjoy this game with your friends. I want to just, with my one game save data, go to someone else's world and experience the part of the game that I'm at. And yes, Bucky and the PalWorld team, I do understand that requires certain things from the world save information, like the Liftmonk effigies and the camp information, to then be transferred to the player, and I know that's gonna suck, but this has to be on the hit list of things to do in order for you to enjoy multiplayer in the game fully. And the second thing is, anytime that I'm in my camp, any single place in my camp that I am, doesn't matter where, not in front of the Palbox, cooking things, whatever, as long as I'm within that radius, I want to hit the M button and be able to fast travel. That's it. I don't want to have to always go up to the Palbox and then choose fast travel. And hopefully, in what I'm just gonna call the big old tree update, whenever that happens, hopefully those things are there. Well, there you go. That is the bulk of the update that I wanted to talk about. It's a lot of level 50 to 55 grind / exploration. If you're level 30 or 40 or something, then you have a bulkier amount of content going forward instead of it being so streamlined and grindy. If you're already level 50, you can just go ahead and experience this bit of new content here. The level 50 to 55 requires a lot of experience, and the Liftmonk effigies that you've already collected, now you have a purpose for them. The breeding that you've already been doing is now going to be streamlined. A lot of quality of life improvements that's going to make your experience a lot easier. And then the last question that was asked several times is it worth starting over? And I would say you don't have to start over, because your first large chunk of the game, your first entire island is going to remain exactly the same. The free PAL Alliance Tower, I would say after completing this large chunk of the map, then you start to have a little bit more content to explore. Do you need to start over? Absolutely not. The early game has not changed at all, so you're not missing anything out there. Well, great. Guys, hope you found this information helpful. If you did, share it with a friend. Hit the share button, send it to someone, and be like, hey, let's get back to PalWorld. Thank you so much for being here. For Austin John Gaming, I'm Austin John. See you next time. Bye-bye.